Hi guys, what it is, oops, why am I'm sorry. Guys, I do content. I am a YouTuber. Very recently been a TikToker. I've been on YouTube since YouTube basically started, but I have been diligently and consistently uploading since 2020. But it was on a different channel. This is a new channel, so I almost came straight in with my old intro that I'm sorry. Eventually, I will get this straight. But, anyways, hi, how is everybody doing? Today is June the 18th, 2024. I came just coming from work. Y'all know on my other channel, I refer to this as my checkered skin because it feels like you wear your uniform more than you wear anything else. And I even wrote a little song that says, I work to live and I live to work, hustle hard until it hurts. Work my fingers down to the bone, and once I pay my bills, ain't got nothing to come home with. Hey, once I pay my bills, ain't got nothing to come home with. Once I pay my bills, ain't got nothing to come home with. Yes, that. uh, so I be on a 9 to 5 work grind. And this is crazy. This is not even the topic of this video, but I'm kind of like I daily vlog. So I let you know where I'm at in my life at that point in time. So on my way into work, I was listening to Diamond Royal Ministries, and she literally had a live. I believe that she released this morning or yesterday. Either way, it just ran across my algorithm. That was like the 9 to 5 is basically, girl, that's of the devil. That is to keep you strategically in one space. And I cannot wait to finish recording this so that I can finish her video because I am so glad that I'm starting to hear people say that because I go through a thing with working. Working has never worked for me. I am all the everything that I've ever pursued and been good at is gearing towards entrepreneurship, which entrepreneurship gives you time freedom. Yes, you will be kind of using your time in those places, but you're not so hard set in stone with your time being dictated by a 9 to 5, right? So it has been very difficult, but I daily try to get off of this workship because I have other desires. I have other things that I believe God put me on this earth for, and it was not to bring food to the table so that I can barely bring food to my table, girl. So, excuse me, just getting off of work, and I had, I'm just building this channel. I brought you the story of I started out just telling you about the narcissists that have riddled my life for over 2 decades. I started out telling you the most detrimental thing that my narcissistic family member has done to me, which is when my mother passed. That person basically was going to purchase things under her name. If you want to hear that story time, I can link that in the description box. That is by far the worst. But after that person did that, I still forgave them and went right back to business as usual, like you always do in these relationships. No apology, no acknowledgement of what they've done being wrong, nothing. It's just we're back talking, right? Okay, and I told you yesterday or the day before the story of my prom. The reason I had to go back to my prom is because this person will not let me live that down. No matter what happens, when I am holding their feet to the fire, when I am saying that something you did is not cool, or when I am saying no, I could just say no. I don't feel like doing 100 million trillion favors for you before I even check on myself and see if I'm good. I don't want to get off of work and rush over to do favor for you and favor for you and favor for you, and then be tired and then don't have any time to devote to anything that I am trying to do to build myself to get out of this 9 to 5. I'm tired and then wake up. It's time to go back to work. So those time suckers and energy suckers, like, so if I just say no, you automatically, this is the card that was always thrown in my face. But I helped you get ready for your prom. Who was there for you when you needed somebody to help you get ready for prom, when your own mother didn't want to help you get ready for your prom? So that's why that story was so important for me to tell, because I'm 43. Prom was over 20 something years ago. So I haven't did enough yet to pay you back for helping me get ready for my prom. Like, you kidding me? But that is what's always thrown in my face, my prom. So I had to tell that story. So today I got a different story. I got the story of how I literally trying to avoid this person could have caused detriment to my unborn baby. I was pregnant. So this will feel like I'm jumping around with the stories. I got 2 decades and a half of narcissistic stories that I'm finally able to talk about, because in a narcissistic relationship, when you feel like something has been done wrong to you by the narcissist, you cannot say anything. You just saying, like, if it was a wound here and they were touching it and you said, ouch, that hurts. If you said, ouch, they're going to say, oh, you make me feel like this because you said, ouch. Or what you trying to say by saying, ouch? Like, everything, you can never, ever, ever, ever hash out nothing. It just has to hurt you, and you try to address it, and they talk over you, or they quickly escalate it to an argument to where everyone's like, okay, both of y'all need to stop arguing, y'all are too old, or to where you just have to swallow it and just be like, whatever. It is aggravating, but we can never, this is the hump we always going to come to, and it's never, just forget it. You win. You win. You can clearly argue way longer than I can. And you are just going to go on and on and on and on and on. You're not going to listen to nothing I have to say. So there's no resolution that's going to come out of this. So just let it go. Right? So that's how I've always had to deal with these altercations. But now that I am finally doing my channel about this thorn in my side, I can now tell my stories. Okay, so we're going back. So I'm going to be jumping around, but it's so many stories. It's hard to put them in chronological order. But I'm going to get them out. Maybe I can put them in chronological order in playlists. But for right now, it's going to be some jumping around. Okay, so we're going to go back to the year of 2000 and 2001. That's the year that I had my daughter. I have one child, and I have one grandchild, and I have one grandchild on the way. So In 2001, I was with the love of my life. My daughter's father, my husband, love him to life. We were about to, I was expecting my daughter. Around this time, my daughter's born in June, late June. Actually, her birthday is next week, and she is pregnant. And she's over being pregnant, right? So we're trying to plan her birthday, but knowing that she could be in labor on her birthday, right? Or around her birthday. But this was the time when this was my cute little baby girl. Well, no, she was in my stomach, so she was still just the little, the little kicks under my hand and stuff, or the kicks that kick up in your ribs, or the flutter in your stomach. That's what she was at that time. Okay, so y'all know how I said my aunt came down here in no, she came down in 98. So 98, 99, 2000, 2001. It's almost 4 years later that she has been here. Now, granted, when I was a minor, my aunt did not do all that narcissistic stuff, those games and stuff on me. So maybe she respects minors. I don't know. But let me tell you, when I turned 18, so I told you in that last story how I would go over to her house because there was so much more going on over there. I had more freedom over there. So I would stay over there like a lot. And then I felt like my mother was way too busy to even know that I'm breathing. And I didn't get much attention, and longing for the relationship with my mother's sister became runner up to where I kind of thought she was filling that void, still a motherly figure in my life. Okay, so 4 years. Once I became 18 and started working, the dynamic changed. When I got paid, this will be parts of other story time. But when I got paid, it was like my aunt would know the day I got paid. She would remember on spot when I got paid. And automatically, every time I got paid, it would be some story where she needed to borrow money. So it would be, oh, my lights are going to be cut off. I just need to borrow this. Oh, can I just. And then if you lent it to her to borrow, you sometimes get it back, but they would basically borrow it right back from you if they paid you back. They're gonna borrow it right back. So it got repetitive, and also so many rides. I've given 1,000,001 rides. I can't even name them all, probably 1 billion. I can't even name you all the favors I've done. Um, and my aunt was the type of person that loved to give you advice and tell you that you ought to do this or you ought to do that. You ain't strong enough. You let people run over you. Now she'll clearly tell me this, but she was one of the main ones running all over me. So she'll quickly tell you that, oh, you're taking people up and down the road. They will have to pay me this or pay me that. And then when I take her up and down the road, she would want to give me maybe $5 or $10. That was in the year of 2000 and 2001. So $5 or $10 did your tank pretty good, right? And get you something to eat and call it a day. Now, she would take up plenty of your time doing whatever task or errand you were doing for her. It literally, you could not have nothing else in life to do because it's going to be all day. This is an all day thing. So she occupied a lot of my time and always needed favors and always needed to borrow money. or give money or something. So she could never, it was her light bill, or it was this, it was that. Now, my mother was alive at the time, so it was the same thing happening with my mother. Now, my mother was not finna sit up and run her this place, that place. She didn't do that. And she would actually get on me about riding people around in my car. And she would tell me, you ride people up and down in your car, but when your car break down, those people aren't going to be nowhere around, right? So I would always kind of get in trouble for riding people in my car. But the part of borrowing money or always needing money, she did that to my mother as well. So it was, if my mother, then it was me. So she would just borrow. That's how they keep their bills paid. That's how they keep their things they have to do done, by kind of borrowing it from you, right? Even if they have their own job, they still need to borrow money from you. If they, be frivolous with their money or squander their money, they're going to come to you to when they have something due. So it was almost every time I got paid, it was, oh, I can't pay. And at that time she had three kids, and they had my heart. My little cousins, they had my heart. So and one of my cousins, one of her sons, I literally think he's a chosen one as well, honestly. So I believe one's a chosen one, one's a narcissist, and I don't know what the other one is. But in the same family household came a chosen one and a narcissist. I'm so glad I can tell these stories now. God, you know how long I have held these stories in. God, it feels good. Thank you, Lord, for freedom. Oh my God. God will give you freedom. Freedom. Yes, I love it. So it was always borrowing and needing. And that time, I only made $5.15 an hour. I was working at a place called Winn Dixie. I didn't make much money. I had a child on the way. My husband, he basically, we, where was he working? He may have been working at Waffle House, but we didn't have no money hardly like that at all. So I didn't have much to give. So borrowing amounts of money kind of did set me back. And then by the next paycheck, they would need to borrow this. So I recognized the patterns in the narcissistic people in my life. I knew paycheck come that this person most likely 9 times out of 10 is gonna be calling me with some story, and I'm an empath. It hurts me to see you struggling. And plus she had my little cousins. And basically I kind of grew up like middle class, and we kind of had a little bit more than they had, and I couldn't understand how they had to lack and I had, you know what I'm saying? So I always felt obligated to help them because I have a little more, so I have to help them because they're not eating like how we eat, or they didn't get the things that we get. They didn't, they lived a whole different lifestyle or whatever. So this day, well, anyway, so when paycheck came, I would try to not answer the phone. And then at that time, we had like with those Nokia phones with the little top that you could screw the little antenna on and off with the little disco ball and crazy. Okay, so I don't think it had caller ID like that. Like you literally just see the number. You didn't know it didn't phones didn't have all these features like that. And we weren't glued to our phones like we are now, right? So That day, I remember that day so vividly. My mother had my husband, my three little sisters. My mother took me to her job. My husband came with me too. We weren't like married together at that time though. Took us all to her job, and we had lunch at the mall that is close to where her job was. It was a beautiful day. My mother had, before that, we had went to my doctor's appointment, and that was the one doctor's appointment that my mother did come. So my mother, my husband, and basically my whole family. It was a beautiful day, right? So at that time when I was pregnant, about 9 months pregnant, actually I was past my due date. My daughter was due on June the 18th, right? So I was past my due date, and I was stuck on Lifetime movies at that time. These crazy, those are full of narcissists, them Lifetime movies, them people that just, you like, do real people like this exist? And I always used to think that about my loved ones that are narcissists. Are they for real? Like, is this a real thing? Is anybody else like this? Like, girl, it would confuse you. So we went out, we had a decent time or whatever, and I had came home. My thing was to eat chips and salsa and watch Lifetime movies. And I was gonna lay down for the day. I was at that stage where you can't quite lay on your back, you can't lay on your stomach, you're uncomfortable, you're miserable. So I was sleeping in a reclining chair or in a chair and put my feet up on the bed and stuff. So I had ate my full thing of chips and salsa and was about to go to sleep. And the phone rings. I don't know why I answered that phone. Cannot tell you why I answered that phone. That had to be nothing but God, the grace of God that I answered that phone. The number showed up, and it was the doctor. The doctor's like, "Hello, uh, you need to get in now because your blood pressure is so high that your baby and your health could be at risk. Like, we have literally been calling you all day since you left your appointment this morning." And I'm like, huh? Y'all been calling me all day. Do you know the number that they were calling me from all day? I literally thought it was my aunt calling me. And I was trying to avoid my aunt. That was such a beautiful day. I didn't feel like doing no favors. I didn't feel like lending no money. None of the above. So I didn't answer the phone. And when I answered, I was like, can we just, this is the 21st. This is by the 21st of June. I was like, can we just do this later? Because they was like, you need to get to the hospital now. We're going to induce you. We've been trying all day to, get a hold of you. I'm like, I'm going to bed. Like, can we do this later? Like, and he's like, no, you need to get down here now. We have literally been trying to contact you from this morning. They induced me, put me in labor, and my daughter is born the 22nd of June. My daughter is born a whole day later because I was trying to avoid the narcissists in my life. Are you kidding me? And when my daughter was born, she was born with her umbilical cord around her neck. So she when she came out, I didn't hear any crying. I didn't hear anything. And she had the umbilical cord wrapped. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, had I not, what if I persisted in not answering this number? You know, just trying to avoid, I literally was trying to avoid my aunt. What could have happened to my baby or myself? And that's crazy that you have to, I mean, they won't let you hash it out. You can't tell them how you feel. You can't tell them how, look, I can't do this. You can't, because if you do that, she's going to throw, but look, I helped you get ready for your prom. But look, I did this for you. And I did that for you. That's like throwing snowballs, right? Or boulders or something else. Like they would throw it back in your face. Every single thing that they have ever done in life for you. Back in your face the moment you cannot help them. Or even if you can't help them, you just literally don't have the means. Or if you cut it off and say, I'm not going to help you, or I don't want to be bothered right now, or can I just get some time for me? Even that is fighting words, right? So it's crazy to me. My daughter, this weekend is her birthday, and I promise you, I laughed to myself. I'm like, and I told my daughter, do you know you're born a whole day later because I was trying to avoid somebody? Like, that's crazy. It should never be like that. But anyways, I'm glad I finally told somebody else. So now that is less of that mess that I have to keep down inside and stress about. Yes. I'll talk to y'all later.